Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Tux Talk. We got some very cool and interesting guys. I don't know where this is going to lead to, but that being said, we got Alex into the shop. And Alex, what brings you in?
Well, I'm getting married.
Congratulations. Are you excited about that?
I am.
Well, you don't sound like you got to breathe a little more. Remember, your fiance is going to be watching this.
Yeah.
No, so is that like an inside, outside wedding? Where is this going to be taking place?
It's going to be outside in northern Minnesota, Park Rapids. We're going to get married on a lake. As far as it sounds like, I think our ceremony and our reception area might be two different places, but we haven't set that in stone yet. But outside on a lake, northern Minnesota.
All right, so kind of going with the beginning here, how was it that you and what's your fiance's name? Bailey first met?
Through high school. I mean, we both went to the same high school, and I mean, we all had the same group of friends since we were, 14, 15 years old. And we started working together, and one thing led to another, and we got together, and we've been together since.
What high school?
Park Rapids High School.
Oh, okay. So that's like, what, an hour-ish from here?
Yeah, it's an hour and a half just north of here, yeah.
Okay. So what was kind of maybe that first interaction like? Because, I don't know, it's not easy. Like, you said you went to high school, so was it maybe a mutual friend, or did you just do the bold thing, go up to her and ask her out?
I mean, we knew each other prior to getting together, and I mean, we started working together, so that kind of made us get to be a little closer. And then we started hanging out after work and long talks in the car after work, 3, 4 in the morning, and then we just kind of made a connection and went from there.
So moving past that a little bit, obviously you have the dating stage and then all the way up, fast forwarding quite a bit, but getting married. So what was that scenario like when you asked her to be your wife?
Well, by this time, we've been together about 6, 7 years, and we actually, before we got married, we bought a house, had a kid, had this house for about a year before I actually decided, this is what I wanted to do the rest of my life. And maybe we did things a little backwards, but it took some time for me to figure it out. But we were outside in the summer, July, outside grilling in the backyard, having a good day, and had a couple drinks in me, and she had a couple drinks, and we were watching our.
Did that help?
It helped with the confidence a little bit, yeah, but
Liquid courage.
yeah, a little bit of liquid courage. That's right. But I was watching, my future wife play with my daughter outside, and we were grilling, and it was just a good environment. And I just got down on one knee and said, "Hey, I don't have a ring right now, but I want you to be my wife."
Did she have any idea that you were going to ask her?
Zero. It was totally spur of the moment, out of the blue.
So, and obviously she said yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. No, but I kind of cried like a little girl about it, and that's okay. But I cried about it, and told her I wanted her to be my wife, and she said yes. And she's like, "You sure that's not the Jägermeister talking?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm sure this is what I want to do." And yeah, it's been cool since.
And so then from that time until the day of marriage, what was that time frame? Like, was it a year, or like how long ago was that when you asked her?
Yeah, so I asked her July of last summer, so the summer of 2023. I asked her, and we're gonna get married in September of 2024.
What's it like being a dad? How old is your daughter?
She'll turn 2 in May, so a little over a year and a half. Being a dad has just been fantastic. I mean, as soon as that kid was born, my perspective on life kind of changed a little bit. I'm not only supporting myself, I'm supporting another living human being. And I don't know, things change. It's just weird. Your whole inner wiring just changes as soon as that kid's born.
So are you a dad as like, I guess the word to say is like a parent, or are you more of that, she gets whatever she wants?
Oh, I'm a dad like a parent. I mean, she's still young, so it's there's going to be some time for that to change and evolve. But I mean, as far as right now, I mean, she's almost 2, so she kind of gets what she wants. But she's still she's still a little shit. But she's not old enough for me to really start laying the hammer down as a parent, as dads do,
So now can we explain to the rest of the audience, you've got a bunch of guys here. So who is it that we have with you?
So this here is going to be my best man in the wedding. His name's Cody Holland, and we've known each other since grade 6, 6th grade. I moved up. Yeah, I moved up from the cities, and we were in choir class together. And he just tapped my shoulder and said, "Hey, like, are you the new kid or whatever?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm Alex." And we shook hands, and that was that. It was a wrap. Since then.
Wow.
Yep.
Who else?
So this is Ken. I've met him. I've known him
Ken?
for about what 6 or 7 years now, Ken, something like that.
Yeah,
Through our work, and then John, he married one of my friends, Allison, and then Matt. I also known within the same year that I met Cody. So
Okay.
yep.
So you guys have all been pretty like. Did you all know each other prior, or it's kind of like you brought them all together?
Yeah, we've all known each other prior. Ken's kind of new to this half of the group over here, but I've got to know Ken for a while, and he's an awesome dude. So
Thanks, man.
Yep.
I think you're awesome too.
yeah,
You got to say it for the podcast.
yeah,
I would have said some other shit, but
Yeah.
this is live.
Well, we can
helping you out, Ken.
Trying to give you brownie points. Are you married
Yeah.
yet, Ken?
Yeah.
Oh, you are? Okay. I
got
was going to
married,
say,
like,
there may be
2
a
years
young
ago.
lady out there who is watching, but he's taking ladies. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Next Ken that comes in. What was life kind of like growing up for you in the area? Because obviously I don't know anything about you. What was that kind of like for you to, I guess, get married and, you know, have that happily ever after? Was that something that you modeled maybe after your parents, or like what was just life like growing up for you?
I was born down in Minneapolis. Well, actually south of Minneapolis. I was born in Waconia, Minnesota. That's southeast side of the cities, or southwest side of the cities. And I grew up for the first 10 years in Crystal, Minnesota. And my parents ended up divorcing when I was like 8 or 9 years old. And they had their problems. And then we moved up to Park Rapids, and I just went to school there and just met friends and whatever. But as far as them setting an example, I don't know how to word it exactly, but they might not have been the best fit for each other at the time, and I kind of saw that, and I kind of told myself I didn't want to be like that, you know. They're my mom and dad, and I love them, but I've always wanted to do better for myself and better for any potential future family that I, would have had.
What is
I'm
your
going to have,
what is your relationship with them now?
Oh, we're good. We talk, and we're all on good terms. It's nothing hasty by any means.
Which, I mean, I think for a lot of us can all speak to that matter of like, okay, there's things that our parents are going to do and they continue to do that when we get older, we're like, well, I would never do it that way. But I understand, like, hey, that's just their upbringing. That's how they do things. But that's why we have the beauty of saying, okay, when it's my time and my chance, like, this is my family, this is my life, I get to live it that way. So I can understand where you're coming from there. So moving forward, like what was some of maybe the first jobs that kind of for everyone, but starting with you, Alex, first that you had and kind of really got you into realizing like, I got to work for the rest of my life.
Yeah, so I've actually been in the restaurant industry since I was 13 years old.
Oh, okay.
And I've done a couple of jobs on the side here and there, but it's mostly been cooking jobs. And I started at a German restaurant in Park Rapids called Schwarzwald. And I worked for a very angry German guy that ran it named Jörg.
Did he speak German too?
Yeah,
like
he would if you fucked up in that kitchen, he'd be yelling at you in German. He took his job very seriously, and at the time he was an asshole. But now I understand that he was a business owner. He had a business to run. He had to be mean to get things in order.
Do you think sometimes Hitler was back from the dead or something?
But he definitely set the bar as a boss, and I kind of thought that all bosses were going to be like that for the rest of my life. And then I kind of had other jobs since then, and other bosses are definitely not that aggressive as he was. But restaurant life ever since.
So you're still currently like in that restaurant
Yep.
of working?
Yep,
and-
I currently manage a kitchen right now.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So what does that job, I guess, maybe consist of for some of the people out there who aren't familiar with like the restaurant world?
Well, so as a kitchen manager, I mean, I manage people. I manage, the quality of food, the presentation of food. I mean, I also manage food costs and other factors that, help the restaurant run smoothly and efficiently on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
Yep.
And what about your best man? What do you do for a living?
I am a CNC machinist.
Just talk louder.
Alright,
That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I'm a CNC machinist. Not the funnest job in the world,
Okay.
but it's also not the worst. You do your job, they leave you alone. That's the nice part.
How long have you been in that for?
Oh, shoot. Almost 9 years.
So if it's not the funnest job in the world, then obviously I don't know anything about this. I actually do have one buddy in it, Alex Playford. So give you a shout out there. Anyhow, why isn't it that you haven't like switched to another thing, or like what keeps you at that job?
My wife got pregnant, so I took that job, and I ain't gonna start.
So
anywhere
respectfully, you,
else.
I mean, you realize you have a family to take care of, and I'm assuming make okay money to where it's like, okay, if I go to another job, like that's a whole nother uproot with a family. Because
yeah.
how
and
old is your kid?
8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, this company that I do work for, they do take care of their employees. They care you. You know, they give you good benefits, good perks, and like I said, you do your job. They leave you alone. The boss is cool as hell, and yeah, like I said, I had a kid on the way, and I was like, man, I need a job now. And
Brings food to the table.
yeah, they gave me an opportunity, and I just ran with it.
What does that job kind of consist of? So when you walk in there every single day, what are you doing or what are you making? Like give us a better picture and idea of that.
All right, so I go in there and I take a little piece of metal, probably what I did recently, probably 2 inches long, an inch wide, and I make it into an intake rocker arm for like the Polaris Rangers engines.
Okay.
Put them in the machine, run them, take measurements, make sure everything's good. Run it through another machine, same thing, and then I put it in the box to get sent for assembly.
What is that material, I guess, made of? I'm assuming aluminum.
This
or
one
metal,
was
but-
steel,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, a lot of it there is aluminum.
How many parts, I guess, a day would you say that you're constantly having to make?
At this machine, they want 300 a
Okay.
day, but at other machines, you get ones that you'll run 50 to 70 a day, depending on how long it takes and how big they are, how much machining you have to do, what kind of tool changes, offsets you got to make. It can be a lot, but most of the time, if you get into a good rhythm, you can just kind of bust through it and keep it going.
Is that mainly kind of computerized, or are
Yeah.
you specifically there, like every little detail, you've got to have a hand in it?
So there's a program that tells it certain depths, lengths, how far the machine has to move. And when you pull it out, we'll say some checks are every hour, some checks are every part. So sometimes you got to check a length every part. Sometimes you got to check a tap, 5 times a day. So every 2 hours or so on and so forth. There's different little things, like if you're running a part with a lot of holes with threads in them that you can bolt something into, you got to check those more often than a part where it has one threaded hole. Like I said, there's a lot of different things you have to look for on different machines.
Okay. So then, kind of past the job part, but coming back to your guys' relationship, and you said you had met originally in school.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then,
Yeah,
what
middle
was
school.
what was that kind of like for you to meet him and get to know him?
Well, the first time I seen him was choir class in 6th grade. And I was sitting there, and he was sitting in the front row, and I looked at him, I was like, man, I ain't never seen this guy before in my life. So I moved down, and I'm like, hey, you new here? And he told me, yeah. I was like, all right, well, I'm Cody. He said, I'm Alex. And I sat down, and we started bullshitting, and been friends,
friends ever since?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
What was some for fun, if you can speak about it or not, trouble or good times that you guys had, then you really reminisce on, or say like, okay, maybe it was a regret, but it taught us something.
I'll leave that up to this man. If he
Oh,
wants
you're not gonna speak on it.
yeah, I'll leave it up to this man if he wants it heard or not.
I mean, there's all kinds of shit that we've been through.
Oh, yeah.
you
Got to
know.
give us a good story, a juicy one.
I can't even think of any, to be honest. Kind of Johnny on the spot,
Yeah.
There's enough to pick through.
Yeah,
He's like, I'll take over.
yeah.
20 years,
Yeah,
bro.
if you want to take over and tell a story, you can, but keep it appropriate, of course.
That's kind of the hard part.
Yeah, we were all kind of shithead kids back in the day, and I mean, we were skipping school and then doing bad things, and on the wrong side of life for a little while, and we all found our path. And
How many days of school did you miss altogether?
I don't even know. I ended up dropping out of school my junior year.
I dropped out my freshman year.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that we were worried about then is, partying and women and
What was the
having a good time
reasoning
and
for
stuff,
dropping out?
Partying.
What we thought is we had better things to be doing,
Yeah.
which in hindsight, man.
Yeah, I mean, if I could go back and finish high school, I would. But I did
Yeah.
get my GED, of course,
Oh,
as I
okay.
got older, and but I mean, we were too cool for school then.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
So like never any trouble with like the cops or anything like that, or
Oh yeah, I mean, I got in trouble for drinking at parties here and there, and I got sent home or brought home by the cops and stuff like that. I mean,
what was the biggest lesson you learned from your younger days that you hope that maybe your daughter, or I'm not sure if you have a son or a daughter, that you hope they don't fall into?
well, I mean, my biggest thing with my daughter is, I mean, if you're gonna be doing stupid shit, do it under my supervision. Don't do it where you're in a position to get yourself in trouble, where you're gonna hurt anybody else or hurt yourself. And I mean, at the end of the day, I don't want her out drinking at 14 years old. I don't want her out smoking weed at 14 years old. But I mean, kids will be kids, and it's kind of hard to say. But if she's gonna do it, I want to know about it.
So obviously we're drinking. Well, you guys are drinking alcohol here today. So was that something you guys kind of had grown up with? Like, Ken, did you drink like it when you were younger? Like, what was that all like? When did you guys, I guess, kind of like take your first drink, get into that, and be like, I like this, or you don't like it? What was that first taste like?
So I was always like a goody goody. So like a little bit different background from some of these guys, but I was always like a goody goody guy. I didn't take my first drink of beer until I was like maybe like 17. And it was like 3 or 4 of us. We bought a bottle of Yag and a case of Budweiser, and we went out to a buddy's place out on the lake, and we got fucking blasted. And we fucking got some fish drunk. We went fishing. We beached a boat. Like, we did a lot of stupid stuff.
So you say, wait, fish drunk? What's that?
So, like, we would catch fish, and then, like, they breathe liquid, right? So instead of
Fed a fish beer?
giving them
That's
like,
animal cruelty, my man.
water, we just like
You were fish drunk.
I thought we did bad
yeah,
shit.
like-
Right?
I thought we did bad shit, Cody.
We didn't do
Yeah.
nothing.
No, animal cruelty is not on my list, man.
man, we did
Let him finish his story.
yeah, we did a lot of stuff. Like we had like a spit to like cook food, like old school, right? Yeah, somebody wanted to get rid of his lizard and release it to the wild, so we got it really drunk and it crawled up to the warmest spot, which happened to be on the spit. And somebody decided to like drop kick the spit, and yeah, that was the end of. I don't even remember the lizard's name, but
Like a spit being like a rotisserie
Yeah.
thing over a fire.
yeah,
okay.
so that was he got cremated,
Yeah.
and we took the ashes and put them in a box and put it out to the water and lit it on fire like
That's hardcore, man.
a
It was
Viking
like
would.
like a Viking burial, bro.
Yeah, that was
That's legit.
yeah, that was like the first like drinking experience for Ken.
Bro,
So-
you
That
sent him
was
off
it.
the right way, though.
Yeah.
So, considering you had such a interesting and wild time for the first time, did that make you say like, I ain't doing this again, or was it just kind of like, eh?
Yeah, it was kind of like, this is what it is. And like, as time went on, I think like, there's been points in my life where I didn't drink, and there's been points in my life where like, I should not have drank. And like, all I can say for everyone out there is like, you gotta do what's right for you. Some people like don't drink and it's cool. Like my sister doesn't drink. But I drink, but there's like a limit, right? Like there's some people you just gotta find your limit, and there's times where like you just let loose. Like I've been to Vegas, and I will not talk about it, but like, dude, like it gets
Stays in
you
Vegas.
get crazy, and like you just don't know. But the next day sucks.
What is that Vegas? Now, I'm not going to ask you because you said you're not going to tell stories, but I'm just curious. I've never been to Vegas, but I always hear, movies, people, etc. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So what is that atmosphere like, considering if you come from a rural town, communities, etc., and then you go to a place like that? So how much of a eye-opener was it for you?
So like I grew up on a farm in southern Minnesota with a town of 2,000 people.
Just a little bit different from Vegas.
Right. So like I hate big cities, but I love people watching because my thing is like trying to figure out their lives. Right? Like I want to figure out like what is that guy thinking right now? Like does that guy have a chance to that girl? No way. There's no way, right? Like that's my like whole
Creating
game,
scenarios
right?
and stories in your head.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
I like to create like that whole like
Here's Ken comes walking by.
Right,
This
yeah.
is a girl. Is she?
exactly. Like that's what I like. That's what I like to do, and my wife loves it because I'll make up voices and I'll do like just absolutely stupid shit.
You're a storyteller.
Yeah, my wife would be like, "What the fuck? No, there's no way." Like, and then they'll like the thing will happen. Like I'll be like, oh yeah, dude, like he's gonna pull out something stupid and she's gonna be just obsessed with it. And then like he'll pull like a pocket knife and just like show it, and she's like, oh look at this, oh what? And she's like, how the fuck do you know that? I'm like, dude, that's the guy.
Psychic. So real quick, before we kind of move on a little bit, you did say that you were married. So if we could kind of explain a little bit to how you met your wife and what that was all like.
Oh wow. So
If it's I guess.
no, it's cool.
Okay.
Me and my wife didn't know each other prior to 8 years ago.
Okay.
She swears that we'd met each other before at a party somewhere. I can't. I plead the fifth.
Too drunk.
Yeah, I plead the fifth. So she was from Hutchinson, Minnesota. I was from Bird Island, Minnesota. So it's like a half-hour drive away from each other. And I'd been up there a few times, and yeah, I'd partied. But my sister actually knew her mom, and they went to bingo together, and they hooked us up on a blind date. Oh, wow. And we went to the blind date, and I was pretty tipsy before I got to the blind date because I hadn't been in like a serious relationship for a while, and I'd previously been engaged prior to my wife. So I was like really not keen on a long-term relationship. But yeah, that first night when I met Crystal, I was like, this is it. But I didn't tell her until like almost like 6 months later that I'm like, all right, this is it. We were together for like 6 years before I was like, we're getting married. And I got married at Bailey and Alex, or proposed at Bailey and Alex's house they were staying in.
Yep.
And
Yeah, on New Year's night.
were you guys engaged yet?
No.
Nope.
No, this is New Year's going into 2020,
2020? Yeah, 2020? 2021?
2020, one of the two.
Something like that.
Yeah.
No, dude. So we're all partying. We're all partying, having a good. We're all partying, having a good time, and then all of a sudden, like midnight strikes, and we're like, "Oh, Happy New Year, kisses!" And we look over, and Ken's on his fucking knee over there, like with the ring in his hand. And we're like, "What the hell is going on?" And everybody's like, "Shut up! They're gonna propose right now."
Yeah, I didn't tell anyone.
Yeah, he didn't tell a soul. He didn't tell me. He didn't tell anybody. And all of a sudden, he's on his knee proposing.
And I had like dropped hints to her, which was like the craziest part about this whole thing, like proposing to her, is like I had the ring for a while, but it's like we went to Mexico and I didn't want to bring it to Mexico because I just didn't want to lose it, right? Like I'm not gonna put money on that and then lose it, right? So then, or stolen on my bag or whatever. So then Christmas with her family, I was like, I got it. I'm gonna do this, right? So her sister and her boyfriend came up, and we were all hanging out, and like out of the corner of my eye, like him and her dad were talking, and like whatever, like that's not who I am, but it clicked in my head. I'm like, oh shit. So then the next day we're opening presents, and I have my hand in my pocket on the ring, and the dude next to me pulls out a ring and proposes to her sister. Oh. No. And I was like, never mind. Guess I won't do that today.
I'm not stealing that shine.
Right. So I was like, I'm not gonna be that guy. So then like I was like, well, when's the next coolest time to do it? And I was like, well, let's like we're gonna be with like friends, right? If we're not gonna be with family, let's be with friends, right? So that's when I decided to do it. Like New Year, let's start something fresh. And that's what happened, yeah. Like
So do you think she had any idea, I guess, after talking, like, what was that leading up to it? Like, obviously, I'm assuming kind of nervous.
Oh, yeah. So normally, like, our friend group kind of takes a lot of shots. Like, I don't think I had a shot prior to midnight that night. And I think I got a lot of flack for it, but like,
you wanted to be sober enough.
Yeah, like I wanted to remember the moment, right?
Exactly.
Like I knew what I was doing,
Right.
and like I think she caught on at some point that like something was different because she wasn't like blasted, but like she was a little tipsy, but like she caught on pretty quick.
So you mentioned in there, and I don't know if I'm gonna, like I say, I told you before, I'm a guy who's curious and I ask questions. So you had mentioned that you were already engaged once before. So can you give us a little glimpse of why that didn't go through?
Yeah, I can. I don't mind talking about it because I'm sure everyone else.
I don't even know about this. This is juicy.
Right? Yeah, like So basically, I had a girlfriend from like 16 up until she was 21, and we had gotten engaged like a few months before she turned 21, and so like she was allowed to like now go out to the bars and everything. And
You were older, or who?
I was a year older than her,
okay.
so I was like 22. So
Yeah.
like whatever. And she wasn't like, because we grew up in a small town, right? So like she didn't understand that like there's a million fucking people, right? And like people will just give you attention to give you attention. So like I don't think she understood like the full concept of like dudes will just say stuff to say stuff kind of thing.
Jeez, where do we begin?
Do you know what I mean?
Especially at a bar, right?
Right.
Hey, baby.
Yeah.
It's like,
So,
can't you
like,
see I'm with
how
someone?
you doing?
Yeah. So like, you know, I caught her like texting another dude, and I like called her out, and she's like, "No, it's somebody I work with," and I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. Like it's whatever." And then like, yeah, it was really rough. Like, she didn't even like tell me in person.
No, you had to find out.
Right. So like, she called me and she's like, "We're done," and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like we lived together, like we had all the same friend group. She's like, "We're done." And I was like, "The fuck do you mean we're done?"
Oh, so she was the one that wanted to end it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I was like, you know, whatever, like,
She did you a favor.
yeah. So that's how I always think of it. Like, but she was like my best friend, right? Like, when you're with somebody for that long, like, that's your best friend.
Difficult to let go.
You got, like, I have a best friend that I've known since I was in 3rd grade. Like, we have the same birthday. We like all the same things. But, like, she was, like, my best friend, you know what I mean? And then, like, it was just gone. And that was really rough. Like, I literally moved out of the place in a weekend, moved into somebody else's house that like my buddies, and then stayed there for like a few months, and I just picked up all my shit and drove to Arizona.
So did she give you any reason as why she basically said, "Hey, we're
Not
done.
once.
I don't want to be with you anymore"?
Not once. And I've called her, and I called her one time, and I was like, hey, this is probably years later, man. Jesus, this was like, I don't even know. I must have been like 28, and I called her. So we broke up when we were like 22. So 6 years later, right? And I just called her, and I was like, "Hey, like, I'm sorry. Like, I apologize because clearly I was the problem." Is how I thought about it. Like, I was the problem. And then she's like, "No, man, you weren't the problem. Like, I regret everything I ever fucking did." And I was like, "Huh, too late now, huh?" Right? So
Toby
like,
Keith song. How do you like me now?
yeah. And like at the time when I called her back, like I owned my own restaurant. Like I was a business owner, like doing things, and she had moved up through the banking system. So she went from like a cashier basically up to like, I don't even know what her position is, but she's like a VP of sales or some shit. So she took the career woman path. And I think when we were together, like I wanted to do the family path, and she wanted to do the career path, and that's kind of how I think about it. Yeah. So like it doesn't bother me. Okay. Like it's not gonna make me cry.
So last question on that scenario for some of the guys and even women out there who, you know, unfortunately have that person that just basically is like, "Yep, we're done." What is your best advice, considering you said, you know, it wasn't an easy time, considering it's like your best friend, someone you loved, you've been with for a minute. What is your best advice to that person out there who has had that happen to them and they don't know how to get past it or what to do next?
This is gonna sound rude as hell, but
Sometimes you have to tell the truth and it may hurt.
the only reason humans have existed for so long is because we adapt to literally any obstacle in front of us. So if you're not adapting, you're not living. And that's literally my code of life. Like anything that comes in front of you, you're either going to go over it, around it, you're going to break through it. That's it. If you're going to stop, what's the fucking point?
Facts.
That's it. That's how I literally live my life. Like if you get stuck, if you get stuck like in a rut in your life and you're like, "Man, something's not going right," like you got to change something, right? Like you got to change something. That's it. That's it. That's life. Like, and if that's what you're not doing, like you're not living. I don't know.
I appreciate you at least sharing that with us, because I mean, I guess that'd be pretty hard for a lot of people to share. But considering that you are happily and married now, and
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
love of my
on to
life.
the next. That's great, and congratulations, and thank you for sharing that with us. So, as we move on, we've been kind of a little bit quiet, but at the same time, there hasn't been a mic in your face. So, if we can kind of tell, who are you, and what is your relationship with Alex, John?
Me and Alex are friends. My wife was friends with him prior to us getting together, and we all met and jived along, and yeah.
How long have you been married for?
I think it'll be
Cut,
8
edit.
Yes,
You
7
gotta
or
stop
8
with the
years
times
this
and
year.
dates, man.
Yeah.
You love it. That's what matters.
Yep. 7 or 8 years this
So,
year.
since you are married, and
Yep.
if we can, kind of like I did with Ken there,
Yep.
how was it that you met your wife?
Me and my wife went to school together. We weren't
Childhood sweethearts.
yeah, we weren't that, but then she moved up north, and we didn't see each other for a long time, and she moved back down to the cities, and we got together and just spent a bunch of time together and just went from there pretty much.
So, how did you know when you were with her, kind of moved away, and I don't know if you want to call it in limbo, whatever the case may be, that you were like, okay, this is the woman that I want to be with for hopefully the rest of my life?
Oh, that's a tough one.
What were some of the qualities that you really liked about her?
She's just awesome to everyone as long as you're awesome to her. You know, she's not fake or sideways. If there's something need to be said, she'll say it, and I just really love that because I had been just gotten out of a relationship where it was just shady and, you know, nothing that she said was really kind of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, it
Pointing
just,
you guys in the right direction.
yeah.
So, what is it that, what was it like when you finally decided that you knew she's the one, and then for you to say, like, I think I'm going to ask her to be my wife? How did that go down, or what was that
Ooh.
looking like? Good or bad?
Ask me that again.
Okay, so you've met your wife, you guys moved away, etc. You're finally back together, and now you understand and realize because of the qualities in her that I like, she's the one that I want to marry. So what did that look like? What did that scene paint that picture for us? Where when you asked her to be your wife, the feelings, where was it at?
Just that was the person. I just knew that she's the one I wanted to spend my life with. You know, I mean,
you seem happy. You're pretty smiling about it. So.
You better be smiling.
It's hard to put in words, but I just knew.
I don't
Yeah.
think there are words.
You know, I just knew she was the one, and yeah.
So I guess to piggyback off of that, what did it look like? Like, how did you paint that picture of saying, like, I took her to a candlelight dinner, or like, was it just, hey, we just happened to be together, and I was like, hey, you want to marry me? I'm assuming it's more romantic than that. I hope.
It was not more romantic like that. than that. Honestly, it was probably the least romantic proposal ever. But we were cleaning our apartment, and we got done, and I just asked her, you know.
And she said yes.
Yep.
Well, I think that's what's really cool about, obviously hearing all your guys' stories is to think, we look at too much of like the media, internet, Instagram, and I always start to see now more, it's like reality versus, what they claim happened.
Right.
But it's cool to see how, like you said, we were just cleaning our apartment, this, and that. It wasn't some like had to spend extravagant amount of money on something.
And the ring that I proposed to her with was a fucking bath bomb she got in the mail, and there was a little shitty ring in the fucking bath bomb, and
That's awesome.
and it was probably equivalent to one you get out of the quarter machines, and
Sure.
yeah,
Bro, that's probably better than the regular ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right,
Yeah,
right.
to be real.
But it's real and authentic, like you
Right,
say. It's
right.
like, hey, this is me. I'm not trying to be someone else or copy this or that.
right,
This is the moment.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Right.
Like, you and Alex kind of have the same thing. Like, this is the moment.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yep.
even me, I looked at the moment, and I was like, it doesn't get much better than this, Like,
Right.
I'm doing the thing, and might as well do the thing officially,
Right.
right.
I want to
Yeah.
clean my house with you. For
Yeah.
This is what I was
let's grill in the backyard forever.
Yep.
At first, I thought you meant you, and I was like, hey, he's already married. He's trying to get a ring, too, here.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that, buddy.
Nope, not me.
It is 2024, so no
Right.
judgment here.
Right,
man.
to each their own.
with that being said, Matt, let's bring you into the conversation. How do you come into this? How'd you meet Alex? What is your opinion of Alex? Good, bad? What's your life like?
No, fuck that guy.
Yeah,
No, I'm
fuck,
just
fuck
kidding.
Alex. Yeah, I guess I just realized I'm the only one that's single here. So
Hey, I am
Yeah.
too. So we're not alone.
yeah, all
We're
right.
not
Yes,
alone in a couple
ladies.
different ways.
yeah, right. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever get married. I know people always say, "Well, I can't believe you'd say that. You're only 28." But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I look at marriage differently.
So give us a little bit of an idea or if you don't mind, an
Yeah.
explanation of saying, for some people out there, they say, okay, let's take women, for instance. It's like, they don't want to have kids or they want to have that career driven. I got to realize in my life that, everyone is different. And the way that you assume life isn't the same way it's going to be for X, Y, and Z over here. So getting back to you, why is it that you don't feel that you need to be married or maybe you just don't want to? What brings that about?
I guess if the right girl were to come along, I guess that's the cliche way of saying it. But what it comes down to is, I don't need a marriage certificate. You know what I mean? I don't need a ring on my finger. I just know when I do find somebody, which dating in this day and age is probably the hardest time to ever date. Like my great grandfather probably worked 10% as hard for 40 times the woman. I guess that's my way of.
Can you go unlock that door real quick?
Oh yeah.
Hello, welcome. Welcome in. This is Emily, the owner. Emily, you want to come on the
Hi,
podcast
Emily.
and say hi to everyone? No, we've been on for
Oh shit! All right.
Years.
40 minutes. We needed a woman's opinion in here on some things, so. Oh, see, that camera just went off. Oh, I don't know. So how was the bridal shop over there?
Needed a Coors?
Yep.
Fair.
There's something stronger on the top shelf.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn
Are
this
you done
camera.
now, or you
No. I'm going to turn this camera back on. We got a couple more minutes and I'll wrap it up properly. Oh, I was going to give you
Well, you can talk to me about it later. I'll leave.
one of the.
Oh, no, stop
Oh,
you.
they.
I'm gonna put that in your pile over here.
Yes, sir.
I'll get it all taken care of a little bit later.
Have fun, guys.
Anyone else need a drink before we get going for a little bit more?
Nope, I'm sitting well.
I'm good.
Sorry for
Thank
taking
you.
up your business.
Listen, it's all good.
Gotta-
Here for.
Yep.
We have a lot of black shoes. Okay.
Just a couple. All right, we'll see you later.
Bye.
Have a good night.
I wish my boss was that fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
What the hell? You locked me out? Oh, all right, we're good.
No, give me one of these beers.
Yeah,
Fuck off.
my boss is pretty fucking cool.
Hey, you're still
though,
doing
bro.
your shit? Fuck off.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We walked into the Christmas party one year, right? And my boss comes, how you doing? I'm glad you made it, so on and so forth, right? He goes, and I told him, it's tough because Peyton at that time was just little.
Right.
I was like, man, she was upset. And he goes, man, leaving my fucking house. My daughter's yelling and arguing with her siblings. I looked at her and said, what the fuck is wrong with you? We laughed hard about that, dude. Funny as
I was
shit.
really drunk at one of your Christmas parties one year.
Dude, Amanda showed me a picture of you and I.
No.
We're on the floor in the elevator.
What?
I'm looking like this, looking like I'm
Yeah.
grabbing onto the handles, and
Yeah.
we're fucking faded, bro. And I looked at it, I was like, when did you take that? She's like,
No,
you
I'm
don't.
straight. I'm good.
She's like, you don't remember being in the elevator? I was like, no, like
Yeah.
I don't know.
My
things
my
are
mom
fire,
works
by
at
the
the
way.
same company that he works for, so like they can get a +1 or whatever. So my mom invited me to go along.
Oh, okay.
And anyways, it was at a casino, so we're getting drunk and gambling and doing the thing. And
Bro, it was
I
more
remember
than
I got so drunk. I don't even know what time it was. I got
was
so
more than
drunk.
drunk,
I went up to the elevator. I went up to the room. I didn't have a key card on me, so I went and sat my happy ass in front of the hotel room door for like 4 hours. Security ended up coming by me and asking like, "What are you doing? Like, what's going on?" I'm like, "This is my room. I don't have a key." I almost got kicked out of the damn hotel because they didn't believe me. And then as soon as this guy was, he was all huffing and puffing, the security guard. And as soon as he was getting ready to tell me I gotta go, my mom comes out of nowhere out of the
Guardian
elevator.
angel, bro.
It's like that's my son.
Her
That's
Spidey
my
sense.
son. And I was like, Mom, thank you. I'm really drunk.
Dude, you want to hear
I'm
a
really
crazy fucking
That was-
Christmas party?
Yeah.
That was
Like,
too
story?
much, though.
Okay.
Like,
I was so drunk.
so drunk, bro. So
So I used to work at an insurance company in Arizona, and like $1 million company. Like I did the math, and I was making this guy over like 150 grand a month that I was making the owner, and I was getting paid like $17 an hour. So like,
If you can do it, you can do it.
I talked to him a few times about getting raises and shit, but like we went to this Christmas party. He's like, we're flying everyone to California, and we're gonna go to this Christmas party. And I was like, hell yeah, I am down. I'm like, is everything included? And he's like, yeah, of course. And I'm like,
Tell
okay.
drinks, food.
So like we go there, and like I ended up meeting another owner who was like a silent owner. I don't know. But we were out on this patio, and we finished a bottle of some kind of whiskey. I have no idea. Then he's like, oh, do you like red wine? And I was like, dude, I don't fucking know. I'm 23. I don't know shit. So like we finished a bottle of red wine. We ate dinner. And then after, they were like, everyone can get a few more drinks, and then you got to head back to your hotel room. I'm like, okay, cool. So, like, I slammed a bunch of fucking drinks as fast as I could. Because he's like, you got 20 minutes. I'm like, I got 20 minutes, dude. I'm 23, ready to rock. So, the rest of, like, my company went down trying to find how to get across the street. We were, like, in LA. So, we had no idea where the fuck we are. We're all hammered. We find a piano, and we started just belting music. One kid knew how to play piano, and he just played music, and we sang to it. We ended up going back to our hotel, staying in the lobby. I took shots with some pilots, didn't know, just randomly met them, got absolutely blasted with them, bought over $150 worth of shots and drinks, put them on a room. Woke up in the morning, and my nose was burned.
Uh-oh.
Like burned. Like I should have gone to the hospital.
I thought you was
Burned.
Like you put something up
Yeah,
your nose?
it was like burned on the yeah. Well, that's,
What were you getting?
like that's what I thought, right?
bit of
Wolf of Wall Street.
Cocaine?
Bro got some ether.
Yeah. So like I tried to play it like cool, right? So like this the server that was like doing the lobby with us, I was like trying to play it cool, and she was like hitting on me. So I was like, yo, here's my room number. Just whenever you're done, come up there, right? Well, I gave her the wrong fucking room number, number
Read a
one.
book.
So like I
Pounding
didn't
on
pay
the
for
door.
any of my drinks. I didn't pay for anything. Like it went to somebody's random room number. I also found out that I smoked weed out of a fucking apple. And I wasn't actually like smoking out of the apple. I was literally just like trying to like burn the weed up in my nose
Oh my soul.
with the like lighter. I was so fucking drunk. And then
Just a little.
I found out the next morning. My sister also worked at the company with me, and she like came to like get me in the morning to catch our flight. Right? She's like, "Bro, wake up, bro, wake up!" And I like wake up. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing in here? She's like, "Dude, first off, your pants were in the door, so it wasn't closed. We found your shoes, your socks, and your shirt in the like hallway leading up
me of
to my room."
Hot dog bun, bro.
Like I got naked basically in the elevator and took off clothes to my room.
Like you really didn't get arrested.
Yeah, like I somehow
It's
existed.
LA, right?
And then like we got to the airport, and the dude was not gonna let me get on the plane because I was still so drunk. And my boss was like, "Here's $100. Get the fuck out of my way."
Fuck yeah.
Leave.
Yeah.
So, guys, as you can tell, sometimes the conversations go every which way, which is cool. But that's the beauty in this podcast is it's all real and authentic. The boss walked in, and hey, life happens. And they said she's pretty cool. So, Emily, you're pretty cool. Anyhow, with that being said, we were on Matt. So, Matt, we're going to give the spotlight back to you. But after Matt, I'll eventually start to kind of like roll it up or wrap it up, whatever you want to call it. I'm saying roll it up because
Roll
you're
it up.
talking
We're
about so
talking
many
about
drugs
weed.
over here.
Hey, I didn't roll nothing. That came out of my nose.
It's legal now. We're good.
Matt, so kind of going back to the like you've had multiple girlfriends or you just kind of like over that until you find the right one is what you're trying to say, or what? Give us more an explanation on that.
Yeah, I guess I had a pretty bad breakup about 5 years ago. And that kind of just took me to a different path in life of I can't just tie everything up in one person. And then now that I have my son Atticus, he's turning 10 here in May, actually born the same day as his daughter.
That's my daughter, yeah.
So they're, I don't know, 8 years apart? Yep.
Was that so you had your did you have
Didn't
this
have my son with my ex, or with the one that was the bad breakup.
okay, sorry. So you didn't have your son with the bad breakup.
Yeah, right, correct. Yep. So yeah, I mean that kind of that breakup took me from my friends. It made me a different person, and I just don't want to go back to that. I'm not saying that's the future person or whatever, but when you hit rock bottom, there's a new version of yourself that you find, and now that's where I'm currently at. Is just working on myself, being with my kid, strengthening the friendships, but. Yep, dating nowadays. I mean, it's nice. My two friends, Alex and Bailey, are getting married, which is fantastic, and everyone I know that are currently sitting here are all married, besides me and you. Yep.
We'll get it done. We'll get it figured out one of these days.
It's great. I love everyone with my heart. But I just don't hope for that for me.
Well, hey, I hear you. Relationships are obviously interesting, and like you had said, like I talked with, how do you know when you find that right girl? And like I dated a girl once that I thought like, oh man, I'm gonna marry this girl. Like she was the best thing ever, and I still like think a lot of her, and I think she's an amazing person. But unfortunately, she didn't want what I wanted, or I don't know what happened. But life goes on, and you try to learn from it, and hopefully move on and find the right one day. But till that happens, I'm gonna keep doing this podcast. So kind of going forward, if we could kind of give some information or maybe inspiration, considering some of you guys have been through the relationships, you are married now. And for some of those people out there who are, in a relationship, obviously, there are some good times and bad times where you're happy and life's going really great. And then all of a sudden, life is just sucking, or something just isn't going the way that you wanted to. So what's the best advice that you can give to those people out there for when that bad day comes in the relationship, whether it be during the boyfriend girlfriend stage or during the wedding time?
All right, so I'm gonna go whole balls deep into exactly what I said before. Like if you are stuck, or something's wrong, or something is different in your life and it's not working out for you, you just need to change it. So like me and my wife will get in some fights every now and then, but the routine never changes. It's always good night, I love you. And it's always a kiss on the lips or a kiss on the head or whatever, whatever it is, whether the other person comes to bed or not. Like, and then the first thing in the morning is, hey, I love you. No matter what, it doesn't matter. Like if you love that person, you will love them through anything and everything. You will do whatever you can to make sure that relationship exists, because you both need it and you both know it. That's what I'm gonna say.
I like it.
I'm Ken, and I approve this message.
Solid.
Yeah,
that was
Fuck,
good.
it's kind of hard to run that one.
Thank you, Ken. You brought it back.
Better be good.
I
Better be good.
I agree with everything you just said there, and in marriage, don't get lazy. Always
Solid.
always kind of treat it like a new relationship.
Don't be complacent, right?
Right.
Sounds like your wives are talking.
Duh.
If my wife was talking, I'd have so many black eyes by now.
and work on communication. Me and my wife still work on communication. More on my end, but communicating is key. Whether it's good to hear or not.
I agree with that 100%. Communication.
Hey, think
is
about, like, how
so
many
much of a
animals-
relationship.
Yep.
How many animals can
That's-
communicate with themselves and across different species? And then think about what humans can fucking do.
Right.
And if you're not gonna use it, what's the fucking point?
Right. That's about all I got though.
Communication.
Yep.
Communicate.
That's a big one, though.
It
A
is.
lot of
It
relationships
is.
end
It
because
is.
of that.
And that takes work.
Yeah.
It takes real work.
On both sides.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
It's crazy.
I'm kind of thinking about how you wanted this message to go out to younger couples, and kind of.
It doesn't necessarily have to be younger couples. I mean, yeah, that's a great audience to have, but just couples in general, because I know sometimes we think too in life. Obviously, I'm not old or yet, but sometimes it's like, well, because I'm 80 some years old, I can't learn from the younger age, or because I'm 20, I know everything, and I'm not going to listen to them. So this can be a wide range. But
Right.
if you are trying to go to a specific audience, no, you take it how you want to.
Well, Bailey and I broke up for a year, actually for a little while. We had a house together. We were renting a house together, and we were working together and doing everything right. And things were kind of rocky between us because we were young and naive and kind of irrational on certain circumstances. And our house actually burned down. April of 2017, I think it was. But I don't know, me being young, and I kind of thought that maybe it was a sign that I should get out and try something else. So I ended up leaving, and we were apart we probably didn't talk for about 8-9 months, and then at the end of the day, we found each other and realized that our love was real, and maybe we just needed a little time apart or whatever it was. I mean, I ended up hitting her back up and like, hey, we should try this thing called a relationship again, and we did, and we never looked back. I guess kind of what I'm getting at is we were young, and when you're young and you're a little naive, you kind of think irrationally. For a lot of young couples that are out there, I mean, if you guys are fighting about this, that, and the other thing, it's because your brain hasn't developed all the way yet, and you're kind of irrational in the way that your thinking is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and kind of what I'm getting at as I get older is I think more rationally, and I think a little bit more clear, and communication is key.
Think about the future.
And yeah, I'm thinking about the future constantly, and Bailey and I are on the same page just about everything that we think about. We have the same sense of humor, we have the same communication style, we have the same lifestyle that we've been living, and it just works. And I wouldn't want that with anybody else. And it might have taken a little while to figure that out, but I'm glad we did, and I'm more than happy with where our life is today. Yeah. Was that a little? Was that too deep? Was that deep?
I love you, man.
Yeah, but seriously, I mean,
Yes, you're marrying Bailey now.
dude, I don't know. I mean, I had a relationship before her, and all we did was yell and scream and cuss at each other all the fucking time, and it was
no
just
fun.
it was no fun. And Bailey and I did our fair share of that, but we were young and.
Yeah, but that's
Every
Yeah.
couple
Yeah.
does that, but like if you really love that person, you really want to be with her or be with him or whatever situation you're in, just fucking stick through it. Your bad days will be over, and you'll have your good days will outweigh all the bad times, right?
100%.
And the other thing with you saying good night, I love you every night, like Bailey does not let us go to bed mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me, I'm kind of an asshole, and I'll pass out on the couch, and I really don't care. But even if I want to do that, she'll come in and she'll sit us down and be like, all right, we got to talk through it. We got to make it good because I don't want to go to bed mad. That's her big thing.
Yep.
Is end every day on a good note.
Yep.
the key to life.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
no matter what you go through, just make sure it's good.
Do you want to be next? Or do you want to go take it to Matt?
I can take it. That's fine.
All right. Matt, what's your best advice with the relationship that you've had? You've had a kid now. It doesn't necessarily have to be, hey, what do you do to make a happy, healthy relationship? But even getting yourself prepared as someone who is single. And, you kind of mentioned a little bit already, but going into that next relationship for people, what are maybe some of the qualities that you would hope maybe for your daughter or for those girls out there to see in another person that you'd be like, hey, this is something that I want my daughter to be with, and that I would be proud to say, like, okay, this is a good human being, whether it be a guy or a girl.
Yeah. I guess, my viewpoint's different, obviously, because I'm single, but I think the biggest journey I'm on right now is just loving myself. I think, relationships, especially nowadays, are not as platonic as they used to be. Everyone's on a cell phone. I miss the days of, passing notes in class or, having to talk to somebody, really talk to them. A phone, it helps, but communication is just so much more beyond than what it was before. The written word was, a lot more genuine. Nowadays it's TTYL, the hashtag this, the woke
Well
that.
thought out.
Right,
Sure.
right.
I mean, I'll agree with you on that, and I would hope, I don't know what your guys' opinion on this, kind of piggybacking off what he said, but isn't it kind of sad that, unfortunately, like, to be with that girl, or if you like that girl, like, it's so thrown out the window to go up and ask her, in person, it's like, hey, well, Tinder, Bumble, maybe I'll message her something and hope for the best, but I just feel like it's so lost with actually going up to a girl, because it takes a lot for a human being to go up and
It's
ask a
scary,
girl.
bro.
Like, it's nerve
Yeah.
wracking because you're like, man, I can get turned down. And it's like, that's a little embarrassing.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll
That-
tell you a thing. This is a thing I learned from sales right here. Listen, boys.
We've been.
It's not no. It's not now.
Elaborate.
That's it. That's all you need to know.
It's not no. It's not now.
It's not no. It's not right now.
Okay, so it is not no, but it is not right now.
Right.
10 minutes.
Okay,
It
I
could be
got you.
definitely.
Right.
Oh.
100%.
As Jim Carrey would say, so you're saying there's a chance.
100%. Like I will make calls and I will talk about a product the first 2 minutes I'm in the building, and they will be like, "Nah, dude, that's fucking stupid. I don't want that in my restaurant." Blah blah blah. And then literally 10 minutes later, be like, "What the fuck was that thing you were talking about like 5 minutes ago?" Oh
get
yeah,
it,
yeah, that
yeah.
thing that blah blah blah. Yeah, you know that might work. It's like, it's the connections aren't in their head yet.
But I think it's the right timing, right place.
Right.
Because with that being said, you're going to have people that don't know how to read a room. And with that being said, I've seen it so many times, not necessarily in a relationship, to where someone like thinks a joke is super hilarious. And like the mature people in the room are like, bro, like that's pretty dumb. Like, shut up. And at the same time, when it comes to a relationship, you may have some of those guys who are like, oh yeah, she's into me, but maybe her friend or this or someone else over there. And it's like, no, dude, like really right now, don't talk to her anymore. Like just let it play out. Maybe down the road something else may happen, but don't go back to her and like, well, I felt the vibe. Well, like, dude,
Well, let
take
it
from your
come to
buddies.
you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't be too persistent, or it's gonna
Yeah,
bite
like
you in the
take
ass.
your shot. Don't be scared to take your shot, but
Don't
like
shoot a million shots.
respect. Don't shotgun it, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know what I mean. Like you're not a fucking BB gun at the fair. Like don't fucking just beep beep boom boom boom. Like just hey, it happens. Okay, no.
You
See
tried.
you later.
You tried rather than not done anything at all.
Right, and she's gonna be thinking about like, well, he's the only guy that came up to me. Well, shit. Maybe you should have took a chance.
Boom.
Okay. Well, appreciate that. We're not gonna let you get away yet. So, are you married or do you have a girlfriend or what's your
I am-
status situation?
I am married. I have a child.
Okay. Oh, did you already mention that? Sorry.
Yeah,
if
that's all
already
good.
said that.
That's all good. My advice: you said people who are new in relationships are going through hardships.
Not even necessarily new, just relationships in general. Take it from you. You got someone that comes to you, maybe such as myself, single guy, and I'm like, man, I like this girl, but we're always, mad and, ornery at each other. And it's like, can't ever go to bed, happy, or just the relationship's not going too well. What's your best advice to them to say, you know what? It's going to be okay. This is what I do in my life, in my marriage.
So not that. I got 3 things.
Okay.
2
let's
of
hear it.
them is what I tell my daughter.
Okay.
If you're going through a tough time or a breakup or a hardship in your relationship, you are a lot stronger than you give yourself credit for. I have to tell my daughter this almost every time we go through a fight or something, and I appreciate the fact that she receives it. You have to understand that you're going to feel and they're going to be big. You are strong enough to handle those. You just have to learn how to put them out. So say you are in an argument and you think they said something that broke you. No, you're not broken. Like Ken said earlier, you're either going to go through it, around it, or over it, or under it, whatever. Human beings are resilient. The second thing is things are going to happen. You can only control how you react.
Yep.
She
100%.
My 8-year-old is absolutely amazing. I have been blessed with the best kid I have ever met. She might act up. Every kid does. Every human being has bad days. We argue. It's stupid shit. But at the end of the day, she knows. Like just honestly, 2 nights ago, she called me in there to apologize because we had a disagreement. She apologized to me. I apologized to her. We hugged and it was all good. But she understood, like, I could have reacted differently. I understood I could have reacted differently. Everybody's gonna make mistakes. Shit happens. You know, just you have to learn to control yourself. And I feel like that's a problem with a lot of relationships. They get too worked up and don't control themselves. You know what I mean?
That's the question. Who do you control?
Yeah.
Straight up, like who do you control?
Only yourself.
Only yourself. You cannot control any other person on this earth. As much as you may try, you cannot. You have zero legitimate control over that person.
And
You
then
can
this-
only control yourself.
This last point, I haven't really had to tell my child yet, but it's something I'm still personally working on, and that everybody in a relationship is going to continually be working on. Most of the shit you fight about is the stupid little things.
It's true.
You
Shit
have
that
to
don't
learn
matter.
to let go of the things that don't matter. And that is a great thing to remember, especially at bedtime. Like they said, you know, you don't go to bed mad. Always say I love you. Yeah, I went to bed mad, but I'm not going to go to bed without telling the woman I love her. I love her.
100%.
You know? And it's always the stupid shit. Yeah, there's going to be big things, and you're going to have these things that you really have to stress about. But 9 times out of 10, it's the stupid shit, and you have to learn to let go. And that piggybacks off of you can only control yourself.
Yep.
That's all I've got to say.
Well, I appreciate the wise words and for you guys being willing to sit on a podcast, considering it was kind of up in the air of like, yeah, I guess we'll do it. But no, it's always fun to have, you know, new stories and people in here to share what they've been through and how the relationships are going and what other advice you can continue to give and how to just to live life. But for being real and authentic is the coolest thing out of it all, of having people in here and knowing that, like, okay, someone may walk in at any time, but still, hey, we're here to just have a conversation and hope that we can inspire or give other people advice out there that we don't even know.
And this was a cool experience, man. Thank
Yes,
you.
it was.
Yeah. That was
Very
great.
cool.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I think that's a great way to end this Tux Talk. So I appreciate you guys for coming on. Congratulations on getting married. I hope the rest of your guys' marriages continue to thrive. And until then, we will see you hopefully again when you got to come and try on all the suits. So thank
Got
you
it.
guys. Thank you guys for watching another episode of Tux Talk. Okay.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Sweet.